Right, so I'm here with Coach Bob Walsh. Currently not coaching, I guess, but he used to be with the University of Maine, NCAA Division One. I wanted to try and just have a chat about recruitment and more in the side of international recruitment. So I've got a load of kids who've come over from England. I got loads of kids back at home who all want to play basketball. They see the American dream. They see play basketball, go overseas, go to college, happy days. But I don't think anyone really knows how to get there. So is it something that you've dealt with in the past, international recruitment?
Absolutely. So we had a number of international players on our team the last 4 years at Maine. We have kids from Germany, Serbia, Latvia, England, Leeds. So, an African kid. So I think for anyone in recruiting, and certainly for the international kids who want to come to the States, being proactive in your recruiting is really important. I think a lot of the connection is going to be made through email and video to start with. Certain schools may have the budgets to go over to Europe and watch kids play during the live periods, but the majority of the schools aren't going to be able to do that. So the connection can be made. I think there's a couple of things. First of all, make sure your academic stuff is all in order, right? Yeah. It's stuff that, you have transcripts for each year that you've been in school that you can send over that's organized so that the school can take a look at it and go, okay, I'm not wasting my time. This is a kid who's going to qualify for NCAA Division I.
You base everything on GPA, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so in England we have a grading, I don't know if you've heard of it, the GCSEs.
Right.
It's when they come through school and then you go on to A-levels and things like that.
Yep.
So would they have to then figure out what that GCSE qualifies as from your side?
They can figure it out, or what they can do is send it to us, right? So if you send that to a coaching staff, our compliance people will go through it, and the NCAA has, they have standards for each country and how they do it and how it translates and stuff like that. So most schools will be able to look at that and take a look at it, have their international admissions office take a look at it and translate it to our scale. So the academic piece of it, and then having a video piece, having a highlight video, highlight clips from games that just show what your strengths are. Maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be too much longer than that, and doesn't have to be too specific and detailed. I've seen some that are broken down to jump shots, then it's pull-up jumpers, then it's finishes at the rim, then it's defensive stuff. I mean, just
something quick and easy.
Just some clips where I want to. If I click on it and I see a young man from England, so to speak, and just click on it and say, okay, here's what he looks like. Does that look like a kid that might be able to play for us? Is that something I want to investigate further? You don't really have to get too specific. I don't think individual development videos really work that well. 1-on-0 stuff where it's like, hey, here he is, making a dribble move to the hoop. That's never really shown me much. So, some game footage that you can get, a personal email that's, introduces yourself, and is addressed directly to that coach at that university. Coach, congratulations on your success at such and such university. Here's my name, here's where I'm from. And then having, if you have a connection or you have a coach, maybe it's an English coach who's got some experience with American colleges or somebody who played over there. I know, we brought a young man over, didn't bring him over. We signed a kid named Danny Evans. Yeah. Well, he came over on his own, but he had a connection to a prep school from somebody from his hometown, which was Leeds, who had been over here and made the connection with him, and then he connected with the prep school, came over, played a year in prep school, and that's where we saw him and we recruited him.
So Danny played GB under 20s.
Right.
So did the international stuff clash with what you did? Because I know there's different times of it. Did you have to go to and from a lot? Or?
No, generally his GB under 20 stuff was in the summer, and he left the summer a little bit early for us. Yeah. So the American universities are allowed to coach kids during the summer now, and they take summer school, but most of the international stuff will trump that. And we've had kids in the past. I've coached kids who had world championships and stuff that went into September that actually stayed home and played and missed first couple of weeks of school. So, the universities are usually pretty understanding. If you're going to play for your national team, something like that, how important that is. That's a priority.
So he was a Division One.
Yeah.
I guess in GB under 20 full scholarship. So for the kids that are obviously are good enough to be there, get the full scholarships, who play international basketball overseas, what about the kids who are not, like the Division Twos maybe,
right.
maybe the Division Threes? Because I know there's obviously not scholarship, but you can get financial aid being an international student.
Right.
And even the prep school option, is that a good option to go down?
So Division II, there are 10 scholarships, right? Division I, we have 13. Division II, there are generally 10, although not all schools are fully funded. Mm-hmm. Division III is non-scholarship, and only certain schools at the Division III level will offer financial aid for foreign students.
Right.
You know, some of them don't. So looking into that and sort of figuring out, you know, if you're somebody that's going to need financial assistance and you're not going to get a scholarship, exploring the Division III schools that will provide financial aid is really important. And the prep school option can be a very good one, but there's a lot to balance there, right? I always tell kids, you want to go to prep school if it's going to improve your standing as a student or improve your standing as a player.
Got you.
From the European standpoint, it's a little bit more important because it will allow you to get seen over here. The prep school scene over here is huge, and a lot of kids are doing it. And as a matter of fact, the kids from the University of Maine that I coached internationally, I didn't go over and see any of them play actually in Europe. Most of them came over here, you know, like Danny did. Danny went to prep school for a year. The Serbian kids were at Lee Academy, which is in Maine. So getting connected to a prep school, I think, can be really beneficial. Then you've got to weigh, you know, the cost. Some of them offer scholarships, especially for international kids.
If prep schools do?
They do, okay. Yeah. They'll have scholarships or financial aid. Yeah. Some of them do not. It depends. Again, that's all part of, you have to investigate a prep school the way you would investigate a college. It's only a 1-year deal, but you know, the level of play, the type of coaching, the academic requirements, and whether or not you fit, and then how some provide full financial aid or will provide scholarships. Others can cost up to, you know, $40,000 just for 1 year. So you have to weigh that as to what it potentially can do for you before you make a decision.
And what age should they really start looking at this, and what age should they maybe start coming to camps like Hoop Group and things like this?
Yeah, it's really important, I think, to get started a little bit earlier if you're in Europe. And I would say, you know, for us, I would say it's before your junior year in high school, which would be your second to last year.
So that's 15, 16?
Yeah, 15, 16 years old is probably a good time to say, you know what, if college in the United States is something I really want to explore, how am I going to get there? And are there connections with coaches like yourself, right, who you're over in Europe, but obviously you've brought a group of guys over here, you've met some coaches here. It's real simple as finding someone who's connected a little bit and saying, hey, I'm interested in going to prep school, or I'm interested to go to college in the States. How can I get started? And I think when you have 2 years left and you're 15, 16 years old, to get started in that process, because it takes a while. And I talk to a lot of kids who, you know, they have 1 year left, or some who have even graduated who are here now and say, yeah, coach, I'm interested in a prep school, or if not, maybe a Division III school. And it's like, well, man, it's really late for us now. You know, a lot of the scholarships are gone. The higher end academic Division III schools will have trouble getting a kid in the summer. So I would say, you know, at least 18 months before you would either attend prep school or attend college, you want to get started.
Right, okay, I'm with you. So camps like Hoop Group, obviously, that offers the opportunity for kids to come over and be seen. Like, do you think is that like a good route to go down to like a starting point?
I think it's a great route to go down if you can do it, right? I talk to kids all the time from different countries when I was at Maine, and we just didn't have the budget to go over there and see them. It just wasn't going to happen. But if you said to me, you know, hey, I'm finishing up, you know, what we would consider our junior year, you know, and then this spring or summer I might have an opportunity to come to the States, you're going to get seen, you're going to get evaluated, you're going to learn kind of who you are, you're going to get a realistic appreciation for, do we think you're a scholarship kid if you come to the States? You can meet prep school coaches, college coaches can
Yeah.
see you play. So I encourage anybody in Europe who has the means to do it to get over here. And then again, you got to do your work ahead of time. If you're going to be, in the States in July, coming to a camp like this, get a feel for the types of schools you'd be interested in, whether it's prep school coaches, Division III coaches, Division II, Division I, and contact them, literally a month and a half ahead of time. Hey, I'm going to be at Hoop Group the week of July 15th to the 19th.
Yeah.
Will you have someone there? Or can you suggest, it might not even be that I have someone from Maine there, but there's hundreds of coaches out here right now, and I'll always know somebody. If I say, hey, check out this kid from England who's wearing number 37 at Hoop Group this week, somebody will be able to get eyes on that, on you, and then you'll have a realistic evaluation of where you stand. But being able to be seen over here, if you can make it over here, I think really helps.
Great. So if I wrap it up with if you can give me just 3 simple points, like really just simple statements, 3 of the most important things to do for a child in Europe to come over and play basketball.
Be proactive.
Yep.
I'd say you have to be intentional and proactive. Take control of it. It's not, don't wait for somebody to discover you. Take control of it. Get started early. Mm-hmm. So probably a little early, with 2 years left, 15 or 16 like we talked about.
Yep.
And don't be bashful. Ask questions and coach, here's my video. Would you mind taking a look at it and telling me what level you think I'm at? And one thing I tell recruits, no matter where you are, if you can, and you may have less people experienced with our system in Europe than we have, but find somebody who has some knowledge with it, is experienced about it, and is objective about it, who will give you an honest opinion of where you stand and what types of schools that you are looking at. And when you connect with people, make it personal. Don't make it a mass email. Connect with someone on a personal level. That's give you a better chance of them responding.
Most successful overseas player you've ever coached before?
The most successful overseas player I have ever coached, Mindaugas Tominskis from Lithuania, who played for us when I was a grad assistant at Iona, just finished up a terrific career playing in Europe for probably about 13, 14 years. Was a great player at Iona. Had a cup of coffee with the Chicago Bulls in their training camp, but then ended up going to Europe and had a terrific career. He's probably the best overseas player that I've coached.
They got good basketball over there.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Look, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it. My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.